All good. Okay. Welcome everybody to our regular board meeting of the Coast Mountain School District. I'd like to begin with a couple of announcements. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge with respect the lands on which we live, work, play, and learn are the traditional and unceded territories of the Gitxsan, Haisla, Nisga'a, Tsimshian peoples, plus I guess with Julia coming to us from Prince George area and the Lady Tene. We specifically want to acknowledge that our meeting is being held in Kitimat today, and we're on the unceded lands of the Haisla people. I'd like to, before we move forward with our presentation and the agenda, to acknowledge the tragedy that occurred in Tumbler Ridge earlier this month and ask us all to just take a moment of thinking about how we extend our continued thoughts and care to the students, families, staff, and community members impacted. If we could all just take a moment to reflect, and then we'll continue on the meeting. Thank you all for taking your reflective thoughts on care for these students, families, and the community. Just the last couple of comments in terms of I, as board chair, on behalf of the board, would really like to thank our district staff, our administrators, and all of the staff who work closely with our students and our staff in response to the tragedy. We provided communications to families and additional counseling and wellness resources. And I did hear from several parents how useful the resources were and how appreciated that our response was helpful to them. We also have reached out to Tumbler Ridge and our colleagues and educators and those that we know in that area to give them the support that we can in this difficult time. On that note, we do have a very full agenda today, and we start with a public presentation by Brianna Jack, who's on a line with us, drive in from Hazelton, and I'm pleased that you weren't on those roads. There's lots of water and challenges. So I turn it over to you, Brianna, to present on the Canadian Parents for French Hazelton chapter presentation.
Could I interrupt just for a second? The live stream is just showing the thumbnails. It's not showing the main screen.
Okay, I'll ask tech support here.
It's showing that.
Oh, it's showing Lindsay right now, LH, and our screen not showing.
What would you prefer to see?
What are you looking for, Mike? I don't understand the question.
Well, the only things that are working are the little thumbnails, right? And so anybody, if the public is watching that, they can't see anything.
Oh, the presentation.
I would think that the board itself would be on the, well, on my computer screen, it would be 5 by 3.5. Whereas right now it's like 1 by 1.5.
And I can do that.
Does that work better?
If I can assist Mr. Maxim, it's because I'm going to put up the presentation. I'm going to put up the slideshow so it shows LH.
Oh.
Yeah, and then after
Okay.
we can minimize me so then you can see everyone if that helps answer your question.
Thank you. That's a good explanation.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
And Ms. Black, I'm just loading it up here.
Great. Thank you all for your time. My name is Brianna Jack. I am the president of the Canadian Parents for French Hazelton chapter. I would like to apologize that I wasn't able to be there in person. I did really want to be, but with the weather, I didn't want to risk driving a total of 6 hours on what would likely become icy roads tonight. So I'm a single mom who works full time, and I also volunteer on the Hazelton Minor Hockey Association executive as their treasurer. All of the parents on the executive for Canadian Parents for French Hazelton chapter are just as busy as me, if not more so. And so I just say that so that you can understand how very dedicated we are to the French program in Hazelton and promoting French immersion and working towards its continued success. So during COVID, the Canadian Parents for French actually went dormant. Many volunteers saw their children graduate during that time, and no handover was able to happen to new parents. So the notice to change the programs and the consultation meetings last year were the first time many parents learned that there was a problem with the French immersion program and enrollment. This one of those consultation meetings was where I learned about Canadian Parents for French. And again, we have a very committed group looking to make sure that the program is grows its numbers and continues success for many years. And we'd like to implement many of the strategies that were used back in 2017. At that time, a few years after that, Hazelton CPF was asked to stop recruiting for French as the amount of kids registered was more than Hazelton, or being registered was more than Hazelton could accommodate. So that is what I've heard from other parents who were part of CPF, is they were told quit recruiting for French. It's we can't accommodate this many kids in the program, and so they quit, and then COVID happened, and I think that's how we ended up where we are now with not enough kids. Can I click for the next slide, or do I have to ask for the next slide, please? So I wanted to share some successes that we've had. Our CPF Hazelton and PAC were able to partner to cover the cost of the annual Carnaval de Québec celebration for the whole school of Monsgollet-Galiax. So all of the children were able to go skating with the skate and helmet rentals included. So it was very accessible for all children. They enjoyed beaver tails, games in the gym, and we are happy to have been able to make this annual celebration and sharing of culture alive in Hazelton. I know in years previous, they've had trouble getting the funds for the busing to the rec center to get to the ice. So I think there's been some years where they weren't able to do that. We're really happy to make it happen again this year. We also supported the high school French class with the year-end party, as they were only for the one semester this year. So they were able to do that. And I know the kids really appreciated it. We received a card of thanks from them, and they all, when I popped in, individually said thank you to me. So it was really sweet to see all these kids who are super committed to the program and have made it to the high school. And then it's also listed as a strength in the Village of Hazelton strategic plan. And I know it's out there as other strengths within our communities as well, that we have a French immersion program. Next. I have also heard when I was at the high school, about our French immersion learners, specifically at the high school, about the sacrifice that they've made to be in French immersion. And so we are just really committed to making sure that the sacrifices that they've made to not be able to do certain things in the high school, it pays off, and they're able to benefit from a dual dogwood and all of the commitment that they've shown. Next. We have many necessary professionals that choose the Hazeltons for their families because of the French immersion program. These are doctors, nurses, teachers, and just other professionals that our community needs to survive. And it is a big draw and a huge success of the community that we have French immersion that can bring more people into the community. And so just as a timeline, we were able to do our AGM in November of 2025. So we are finally gotten the board off the ground. So we're going to be working with the French immersion program to increase support, increase enrollment, awareness and recruitment of the French immersion programs. And we want to work with families in French immersion to decrease the attrition that the program has. Some of the things that I've heard as a parent is just that some of the reasons that people are leaving French are things that I think if we have an active board with all of the committed members that we do, I believe that we will be able to grow the program and reduce the attrition that we have. So We are working hard to support the program. We see that its immense value and hope with the TINA's report, you will make a favorable decision and give us the time to continue to help it recover. We have a parent on CPF, or well, she was a parent. Her kids have all graduated, and she is mentoring us on, what the previous CPF have done for advocacy, because they did a really great job after 2017 bringing the numbers up. So I just really want to let you know that we do have some mentorship from people who have been on it before. And it does also help show the community support that somebody who doesn't have children in school is volunteering their time to come and help this program succeed. In the consultation meetings, it was suggested that we could perhaps have a working committee, and our board is committed to making that happen, because I know some meetings have been poorly attended from the school district, and I think having the local support will help solve this outreach program or problem. And so having the working committee knowing what events are happening in Hazelton will help inform when we do different outreach, recruitment, all of those things. Again, we're all really committed to putting in the work to see the program succeed for years to come. I ask that as you consider the numbers, please consider that, for the teachers budgeted in the core funding, there would have been savings from previous years due to the number of teachers under the letter of permission and aren't fully certified teachers, because I know we've heard a lot about the budgeted amount for core funding and teachers in schools, and we have a lot of teachers on LPs not hitting that. So there would be savings there that might be able to help with the French program for now as we get those numbers up. And then also, just please consider not just the equity of teachers, but the equity of the children that you are all elected to have the best interests for. I thank you so much, Hatmia, for listening to me and taking the time. Sabah.
Yes. Thank you very much for your presentation. As you know, we've got this on the agenda for more information today to dialogue. And my questions can come up later, not at this time right now. We'll move forward, and we welcome you to stay with our meeting, and we'll keep the communications going with you. Thank you. So we would like to proceed with our meeting. And initially, I would like to warmly welcome everybody, and we are on the live stream in our CMSD YouTube channel. Since our last meeting, we've been very focused on our student learning and well-being and community connection. We're now into our second term with students engaging in their learning and staff continuing to provide thoughtful and responsive support. Earlier this month, we observed Family Day across BC, and Family Day serves as a reminder of the important role that families and caregivers play in supporting student success. We acknowledge the strong partnerships between our schools and families throughout our district, and appreciate when families speak with us at the board level. Today is Pink Shirt Day. As you can see, we're all wearing our pink shirts and recognizing across the country that today is a day for promoting kindness, inclusion, and anti-bullying awareness. I reflect on this in that it was the Haisla peoples that gave me my shirt many years ago, and I've worn it every year, and really acknowledge the respects side of it, in that we are all working to respect each other and to honor each other. I've reviewed what was happening in Tumbler Ridge, and I really thank our staff for the leadership that they've done to support our students, our staff, and reach out to Tumbler Ridge with our thoughts and small gifts that we may help them that way. I'd like to start with the introductions. I'm Margaret Wartup. I'm your board chairperson, and I'll go to my right.
Ed Harrison, trustee from Terrace.
And to my left.
Karen Yonkman, trustee from Kitimat.
Okay, and on the screen, Wayne.
Wayne Jones, trustee for Stewart.
Julia.
Julia Sundell, Hazelton trustee.
Okay, and Mike.
Mike Maxim, trustee for Thornhill.
And I'll ask our superintendent to start with her introduction and her staff.
Good afternoon, Tracy McMillan, Superintendent of Schools. And the education team members I see on the screen are Julia,
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juliana Kars, Director of Instruction and Inclusive Education.
and Tina McDonald, who would normally be here in person. She did give me permission to share that she is traveling right now as there was a death in her family. Our condolences to you, Tina, and your family. Tina?
Good evening, everyone. Tina McDonald, District Principal of Curriculum Supports, and I'm currently in Edmonton on the traditional territory of the Cree Nation, among others, but I don't know them all by heart. So it's nice to come together today.
Thank you, Tina and Ginger, and then you can introduce your team.
Hi, Ginger Fuller, Secretary Treasurer for School District 82. And behind me I have.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. I'm Rob Shibley, and I'm the Director of Facility Services.
And on the screen I have Kieran.
Good evening. I'm Kiran Bath, Director of HR.
And we also have Lindsay with us. Lindsay?
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Harder. I'm the Executive Assistant to the Superintendent and the Board of Education.
And I would also like to acknowledge and thank Nate, who is here with us from IT and supporting so that all of us are able to hear and see each other. So thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Terry, want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. Yeah, Terry Barlow. I am local president of the Kitimat District Teachers and president of CMTF. Glad to be here, and I certainly acknowledge the high school territory in which I happen to work and live, play, and enjoy this territory.
We have another number of other guests on the screen, and I just wanted to remind you that we'll go through our meeting agenda and we'll have a question period towards the end of the public meeting. This is a 10-minute question period. You wanting something?
And we have one more member. My apologies. Ryan McCann.
Welcome, Ryan.
Hi, everyone. It's Ryan from McCann, Vice Principal at Hazelton Secondary.
Welcome. So in regards to question period, the questions have to pertain to what's on our agenda and can be presented in person at our regular meeting, or could have been emailed ahead of time to Lindsay, but I understand we have received no pre-questions that way. Questions or comments about personnel issues, individuals, or property acquisitions are not appropriate at our public meetings. When we receive a question or dialogue occurring, we will, if we can't answer the question at this time, we will get back to you as soon as possible, as soon as we can. Trustees, I want to remind you that at the end of the meeting, you are asked on the agenda if you have any reports you wish to share. And then lastly, before we get into the agenda, our next meeting will be held Wednesday, April 29th, 2026 at the board office in Terrace. We don't regularly meet in March, that way with spring break and the busyness of everything that's happening that way. So if we can move to our agenda, I would like to have approval of the agenda with one change. On the agenda, number 6 is the business arising from the minutes, which is in regards to the Hazelton French Immersion Program. And correspondence is number 7, the letters of support for the Hazelton French Immersion Program. I'm asking for a motion to approve the agenda, changing number 7 to number 6 and number 6 to number 7 so that it flows properly for us to have all the appropriate information we need. So moved by Ed. Seconder, please. Second. Karen, all in favor? Pass. Thank you. Next is 4.1, the regular meeting of the board, January 28th, 2026, on pages 11 to 18. If I can have a motion for approval, please. Julia?
Hang on a second. Did we approve the agenda yet?
Yes, we
Just
did. Yeah.
Was there a discussion period for the agenda?
Do you have something you wish to ask, Mike? Sorry.
I do, as a
Okay.
matter of fact. I've noticed certain podcasters on Canadian channels, including the Acknowledgement of Territories, and I kind of got the idea that it was a legal requirement now in Canada. So I would actually like to comply with the law, and I wonder if somebody could give me my acknowledgements for my Thornhill constituency.
Mike, I'll discuss that with you afterwards. It's not a question that I can take now.
And I understand that, but I would prefer to get an email so that I can have it to read.
Okay. Yep. We'll respond back to you. So I am at the receipt of the records of the in-camera or of the minutes of the prior meeting, January 28th, and I had a motion from Julia, a seconder. Ed, all in favor of the minutes? Passed. Any questions at all? Next is number 5, receipt of the in-camera meeting of January 28th, 2026. A motion to receive as well. Karen? Ed? All in favor? Mike, are you going to vote?
No, I'm just looking for the page here.
Okay, page 19 to 20. You weren't in the...
No, I'm not voting on the in-camera meeting.
Yeah, okay. All in favor has been passed. Thank you. And then we move to 7.1, the letter of support from the Hazelton French Immersion Program. It's in our packages on page 45 to 50, and it is presented for information. And everybody has received the letter and been able to read the letter that way. And then we move to 6.1, the Hazelton French Immersion Program Review Update, which our superintendent is going to present. And we will find on the computer screen that there is a presentation, slides, etc. So you're going to be squished down to smaller too as well. Go ahead.
So we didn't have any questions on the letters either.
When we receive for information, do I ask for questions, Junior?
Well, I had questions for the presenter of the slides, and I had questions for the writers of the letters.
So questions for the presenters. The presenter will come towards the end of the meeting after we've got all the information. And my left hand over here advised me that when we have letters, we receive them for information, but we don't do a dialogue or discussion on them.
You know, letters are not considered to be as reliable as somebody's there to describe what they mean by what they've written.
Well,
Can I speak?
Yeah, I'm going to let our...
So Mike, as far as I know, there is one group or one or two people here that can respond to the letter. The people who wrote 2 of these letters are not in attendance at this meeting.
Fair enough.
Okay. And I will continue to look for clarity in terms of when we receive for information, how we're supposed to act. So we are going to move to the Hazelton French Immersion Program Review Update presented by our superintendent.
Thank you very much. So you'll notice in your package that there is a detailed report that was a compilation of information from the meetings, the consultation meetings that took place in Hazelton. And so the PowerPoint presentation that's going to be placed up on the screen shortly is a very, very brief overview of the information that is in your package. Do they see it?
It's coming up.
Nope. Nope.
Okay, hang on. We'll see if it's. So while the PowerPoint is starting, again, this information is based on the compilation beginning September 23rd, 2024. And that was when the families and communities in Hazelton were first notified of the concerns of the decline in enrollment and the attrition of the French immersion program. So an additional year was added to this review process to allow the district more time to gather information and to make more thoughtful and informed decisions. So the slide that you're looking at right now, just in the event, you should be able to read that, but for people here, the blue designates the high school, Hazelton Secondary School, and the orange is the elementary school, MGA in Hazelton. So over the last 5 years, we have seen a significant decrease in enrollment and continuation in French immersion at the high school. MGA showed decline in 2020, most likely due to COVID and the uncertainty of how families could support French language from home. Both programs in the span of approximately 6 years had experience and fully certified teachers that were established in the community facilitating these programs. The introduction to the Gitsan immersion program in 2024-2025 may have also had an impact on the numbers. Some families feel that we have seen a higher attrition rate in 2025-2026 school year due to the review of the program. And the current numbers at MGA are 28 students. So again, that's at the elementary school, K to 7, 28 students, and at the high school from 8 to 12, there are a total of 7 students. Next slide, please. So here you're looking at the projected enrollment at the high school. So the blue column, again, represents without attrition, and the orange column represents with attrition. So the blue column represents students moving into the high school over the next 4 years, where the existing students at the elementary school all commit to staying in the French immersion program for the remainder of their high school programming. So basically, no one leaves the community or the program. They all continue on up to grade 12. The orange column represents the statistical probability that 20 to 30% of immersion students leave the program in French immersion when entering or during high school. So both graphs show an increase. However, attrition is most common and quite common in high school. Therefore, it is more probable that there will be attrition. The average attrition rate is 20 to 30%. These totals that you're looking at on your screen are calculated at 20%. Therefore, the impact could be greater. Next slide, please. So just an overview of the cost of funding for French immersion in Hazelton. So the cost of running French immersion in Hazelton in 2025-26 is an estimate of $495,000. The funds we receive from the ministry per student totals $315,525. The board has had to offset that cost by $179,672,000. Also, the Official Languages and Education Programs, which is the OLEP, provides enhancement funding for immersion students at $157 per student. And also, I think it's important to note that the ministry funding also is responsible for taking in not only salaries but budgets, technology, educational resources, etc. And currently we have 3.1 teachers at MGA, the elementary school, which is 3 classrooms. And then there's 1.1 French literacy support, which is a block. And there's also a half position of 0.5 allocated to Hazelton Secondary School during the first semester. So looking forward, currently, the district does not have a teacher for next year teaching at the high school level. However, we have interviewed some potential candidates. Okay, and next slide, please. So here are some options that are available for consideration. Option 1, continue to support and build the French immersion program in kindergarten to grade 7, while offering secondary program grades 8 to 12 through online French immersion courses and support students in pursuing a dual Dogwood diploma. Option 2, continue to offer and build the French immersion program in kindergarten to grade 7 only, with no new secondary French immersion intake. Students currently enrolled in secondary French immersion will be offered course options to support continuation of their French immersion studies through to graduation. Should enrollment decline in K-7, reassess the long-term sustainability of the program in Hazelton. Option 3, gradually phase out the French immersion program in Hazelton by discontinuing new enrollment effective the 2026-2027 school year, while maintaining programming for students currently enrolled until they complete the program. Option 4, next slide, please. Gradually phase out the secondary French immersion program while continuing to offer an intensive French language course to support students in maintaining their French language proficiency. This option may include online course offerings. Option 5, relocate the kindergarten to grade 7 French immersion program to New Hazelton Elementary School to support enrollment growth, noting that the current location at MGA also offers the Gitxsan immersion program. Option 6, maintain the current structure for the 2026-2027 school year, continuing to offer French immersion programming from kindergarten to grade 12. Given the current enrollment projections, this option would require the reduction of 1 teaching FTE. And option 7 is any other option that the board sees fit.
Thank you for your report. And if we refer to our board package, which is on page 22, we've received the background discussion presentation and the letters of support for the program and questions. The information gathered outlines our current enrollment projections, financial implications, program sustainability, considerations, and potential options for the future structure of French immersion programming in Hazelton. As a district, Coast Mountain School District remains committed to supporting quality French immersion program while ensuring responsibility for our stewardship of district resources. The board will consider the information presented and determine next steps following this review. The recommendation and action is that the board consider the options of the French immersion program review and determine where we should move forward. Is there a motion that would come forward as to our next steps? Julia, you have your hand up.
Thanks, Margaret. First off, I'd like to thank Tina for doing all the legwork for this and gathering the data and doing the presentation for the options. Looking at the options as they stand right now, I don't think there's enough information to actually make a decision. I can see that the Canadian Parents for the French in the Hazelton chapter is a committed group. They've had success for many years in the past, but recruiting stopped due to COVID. Granted, the pandemic ended in 2023. It's now an endemic, as we all know. They've committed to grow the program and reduce attrition. They're also committed to bringing the numbers up through mentorship and a working committee. They have stated that they're ready to put in the work to keep this program viable. So my motion is going to be that the board directs staff to write to the local chapter of the Canadian Parents for French to request within 2 weeks information regarding any potential financial viability to support the sustainability of the French immersion program in Hazelton, as well as the details outlining what recruitment efforts have been undertaken to date and what actions CPF is willing to pursue to support enrollment growth and program viability, and that upon receipt of the response, the board schedules a special public meeting to review the information provided.
So moved by Julia. Mike, are you
Point,
second?
point,
motion?
point of order. Point of order. We have not had a motion to accept the superintendent's presentation or had a discussion about the material that she has provided.
Okay, so the information was update, a motion to receive. Okay, I will step back. We'll hold your motion, Julia, and we'll step back and have a motion to receive the report. Karen, Ed, all in favor of receipt? Any questions? Okay, Mike, go ahead.
Did you receive the emails that I sent today with the graph that we received in the agenda package pasted together so that it's on one page instead of two? And also the calculations that I made regarding the attrition rates for both the MGA and HSS schools, what their attrition rates actually are, as opposed to the provincial average for attrition rates. Did you receive that?
I did. We did receive that. And it could be shared in consideration if we move ahead for a special meeting.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Well, am I permitted to share that at this point then?
No, we'll share it prior to the special meeting so that information is
Well,
all in one place.
And this will be public.
Yes, yeah. It's a special open public meeting, yes.
Thank you.
So we have a motion from Julia and it's seconded, correct? I'm losing track here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ed seconded.
And Wayne, you had a question? Did I miss it? No? Okay.
No, I was just putting my hand up in agreement.
Okay. All in favor of the motion? It is passed. Thank you. So we will now move forward to the Superintendent of Schools monthly report. I'm keeping you busy here, aren't we?
Could we recap
Pardon me?
for the for the YouTube channel and the people on screen? Can we recap what the decision is, please?
So the decision is to approve the motion that the board directs staff to write to the local chapter of Canadian Parents for French, CPF, to request within 2 weeks information regarding any potential financial viability to support the sustainability of the French immersion program in Hazelton, as well as details outlining what recruitment efforts have been undertaken to date and what actions CPF is willing to pursue to support enrollment growth and program viability. And that upon receipt of the response, the board schedule a special public meeting to review the information provided.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I mean, we will get this out so that you can read it, not just off my phone with my wording. Yeah.
Margaret, for note taking purposes, that we are receiving what was set in the line. Now we can
Yeah.
3 letters.
Yes, we've got a receipt. Yeah. Yeah. And then we can move on to the superintendent's report on page 51.
Discussion.
Discussion, go ahead, Mike, you had a question?
Thank you. Yes, and now the information that I provided and the calculations that I made, which may or may not be correct because I might make a math mistake, I was not able to forward that information to all of the people who wrote letters in support because 2 of those letters did not come with contact information. So I'm hoping that the people that haven't been given the information that I provided will be provided that information.
Because we've accepted receipt of your information, they will be part of our board package as we do the minutes and all of the information, and they'll have access to it, yes.
Through the minutes which will be presented next month?
So the minutes are presented usually within a couple of days of writing them up, unless I'm wrong.
They're not, the minutes are not available to the public until next month.
How would you like to handle it? I'm looking to you, Ginger. Yeah.
The special in-camera board meeting will include all the information, and that will be provided online to those who are interested in receiving it prior to the meeting that is being held in 2 weeks.
Does that help you to Mike to know where they will get access to it?
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, we can move forward to the superintendent's report then. Julia, do you, oh, sorry, your hand's still up. I can see it now. Yeah.
She said no. Okay.
Sorry.
No, I haven't taken it down. Thanks, Margaret.
Now the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Chair.
And the hand's still up, Julia. There we go.
Yeah.
That's good.
So this month's superintendent report starts on page 52 of your package. And the report reflects both meaningful learning and strong community connections across our schools, while acknowledging that our thoughts remain with the students, families, and staff of Tumbler Ridge during this incredibly different time for them. We start off with Snowshoes and Smiles at Thornhill. Thornhill Primary students embrace outdoor learning by exploring traditional winter transportation through hands-on snowshoe experiences connected to their studies. As well, Thornhill Elementary strengthened school-wide belonging through a community breakfast made possible by the generosity of volunteers and staff. And at the bottom of the page is a feature article of Sly Stanley. And this is through the Coast Mountains Outreach Program and community partnerships that Sly Stanley is building leadership, confidence, and a community-based project that will positively impact Terrace. On page 54, you'll notice that Bear Valley Schools partnerships with the RCMP and local community organizations continue to enhance student well-being, food security, and hands-on learning opportunities. And on page 55 at Kitimat City High, a student honored her Nisga'a and Cree heritage through a powerful legacy art piece that celebrates identity, culture, and belonging, which will be permanently there, a part of the school. As well, you'll notice in Kitwanga, the elementary school science fair showcased student curiosity, critical thinking, and inclusive community-connected learning across all of the grades. And there you will also see grade 6 student leaders at Sulawaks who are modeling leadership, responsibility, and school pride through service, mentorship, athletics, and academic commitment. Starting on page 56, you'll also notice part of the Hobier celebrations this month. One of them took place at Sulawaks, and this was led through students, student leaders. They were speaking, and we were learning through cultural celebration that honored Indigenous knowledge and strengthened community connection. On page 57, You'll notice there were career fairs in Hazelton at Caledonia Secondary, organized by the schools, which connected students directly with post-secondary institutions, employers, and Indigenous recruiters to support future pathway planning. And I know at Nechako, they're very proud of their grade 6 students who demonstrated creativity, scientific understanding, and growing confidence through their detailed solar system projects and presentations. On page 58, we are providing you with a Coast Mountain School District nationwide recruitment efforts to attract qualified educators and also strengthen long-term stability across our schools. As well, you'll notice that the Caledonia Senior Boys Basketball Team, they demonstrated their athletic excellence, teamwork, and school pride in a strong victory game with Shawinigan Lake School, which was a school down on Vancouver Island. On page 59, you'll notice and find more information about Compassionate Systems Leadership. And Joanne Schroeder, she works with our district, and her visit helped to deepen our district's commitment to Compassionate Systems Leadership through board engagement, school-based learning, and district-wide professional development. And in particular, she worked with Uplands and also offered district-wide professional development during our last PD day. On page 60, this is a follow-up article, as we felt it was really important to highlight some of the personal stories of the participants and to acknowledge further their contributions. So we'd like to extend our gratitude to the veterans, service members, and community volunteers who ensure our Remembrance Day ceremonies across our schools remain meaningful and deeply respectful. And a number of these individuals, they actually take time off of work, some without pay, to help support the learning across our district and in schools. And also on page 60 to page 65, I added in more information that I felt would be important for you, as well as for staff and parents, about the practical ways that we keep students safe each day at schools, including regular emergency drills, an updated critical incident guide, which is in every school, and that was actually just released this past fall. So fall of 2024, received those. Close partnerships with the RCMP and local emergency responders, and coordinated mental health supports for students and staff, which also includes our mental health awareness sheet. And in this package, we included that, and there's a QR code linking families directly to local resources. And I will also be providing a follow-up letter later this week to parents so that they actually receive this information. And on page 66, we also continue with the ongoing consideration section, which outlines areas for growth for our district as we continue to work through various items. And this really helps to provide transparency and context as we move forward together. Thank you.
So thank you for your report. Any questions for the superintendent, or can we receive her report for information? Mike?
Yeah. This photo of veterans and community volunteers is very good. I'd like to, and it's nice to see their faces, and nice to know which names are attached to those people. But I'm wondering if any of these people were asked if they would like to have their contact information in this report as well.
In the report, No, Mike, but the schools have their contact information. So.
Oh, is that public access?
No, no.
So the question still stands then. Because they might like their contact information to be made public.
So we can, I'll take that question, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Any
you.
Further questions, or I'll have a motion to receive the superintendent's monthly report for information. So move Karen, second, Ed, all in favor of receipt? Wayne, thank you. Pass. And the Indigenous education report. Oh. Brianna, do you have your hand up, and we'll take the questions right at the end? Not sure she's still with us there.
Yeah, I'm here. So I gotta wait till the end?
Yes, please. Yeah. Thank you. Indigenous education report. I'm looking to the superintendent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this month's report highlights continued progress in strengthening cultural identity, student belonging, community partnerships, and engagement across Coast Mountains District. And we extend our gratitude to the elders, knowledge holders, Indigenous support workers, educators, administrators, families, and community partners whose collaboration continues to strengthen culturally grounded learning, student engagement, and well-being across the district. And as well, improving Indigenous student attendance remains a district priority through layered supports, including Indigenous support workers, elders in residence, cultural programming, mentorship, and the addition of the Indigenous outreach worker position. And also on page 72, you will notice that an initial working group meeting with administrators, local education representatives, elders, and district staff has taken place to guide resource development and next steps for the strengthening of the Gitsanima immersion program at Majigali Galiax Elementary. On page 73, you will find a message from our Director of Instruction for Indigenous Education, Donna Mortimer, and she also highlights the Hobier celebrations at Sulawesi Community School, highlighting the cultural renewal, student pride, and the importance of honoring Nisga's traditions within our school communities. On page 74, you will notice that we are really pleased to welcome Job Daniels as Indigenous outreach worker. He supports and strengthens relationship-based trauma-informed supports to improve student engagement, re-engagement, and attendance across Terrace area schools. Beginning on page 75, you'll notice that Hobier is once again featured with student leaders and their leadership through intergenerational drumming, cultural learning, and student-led presentations. The Hobier celebration engaged the entire community and reinforced leadership, identity, and belonging. On page 76, a 2-week residency with Gitsan Nisga'a artist Daryl Moore strengthens students' understanding of Northwest Coast form line design while reinforcing cultural responsibility, artistic skill, and pride. On page 77, you'll learn about the ongoing mentorship from Knowledge Keeper and Elder from the Kitsalis First Nation, Anne McDames. And she's working on building early cultural confidence and preparing primary students to participate respectfully in school feasting and drumming traditions. On page 78, Caledonia Secondary, they outline how the Connections team continues to advance equity and reconciliation by embedding culturally responsive practices that strengthen student belonging, engagement, and attendance. And on page 79, Hazelton Secondary are celebrating the Elders and Residents program, which is deepening cultural understanding, protocol learning, and relationship building, resulting in stronger student connection and a sense of belonging. And on page 80, you'll see a chart with the 131 Indigenous targeted funded projects. And these are the approved Indigenous targeted funds, which are supporting language revitalization, land-based learning, cultural programming, wellness initiatives, and community partnerships across our school district. And page 81 features the Elder and Knowledge Holder Role Model Program. And these are district-wide elder and knowledge holder partnerships, which continue to provide and who continue to provide mentorship, cultural teachings, intergenerational learning, and opportunities for students to develop their identities. Thank you.
So this report is presented for information. I have a motion to receive. Karen? Mike, you had a question?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
The knowledge keepers and elders, are they all volunteers? Oh, page 81.
Do you want to answer it now, or do you want to get back to Mike?
I'll get back. Yeah, we'll take the question. Thanks, Mike.
Any further questions? If I'm not, can I have a seconder? Ed, second. All in favor? Passed. Thank you. And we move to number 10, the Indigenous Education Council.
In advise, I received a invitation to the chair and vice chair of the Indigenous Education Council. I received a response from the vice chair, Ms. Robinson, advising that she has a conflict who is there type of working.
And
there'll be no report received for this meeting.
That was the vice chair, so I'm not sure for the 7.
I don't see Mrs. Collison on the board, so I believe she's not in attendance. Is that correct?
Nope.
Okay, so no report from the Indigenous Education Council for this meeting. We'll just do it that way. And we'll move on to the Business Committee meeting. Trustee Ed Harrison, you've got a lot this meeting. I'll go for it.
The first item is on page 83. It is the minutes of the Business Committee meeting, February the 11th, 2026. The recommended action is that the minutes of the Business Committee meeting held February 11th, 2026 be received for information.
So moved by Ed, second by Carrie. Any questions? All in favor? Pass. Mike, are you going to vote?
abstain.
Abstain. Do you wish it recorded?
Yes, I don't go to the meetings. I don't vote on whether or not the agenda is, or the report is correct.
Okay, thank you. It's a motion for receipt and information. Annual review 11.12. Yes.
On page 88, the annual review is of the school district video surveillance system in compliance with the School Act, section 74.01. An annual review is conducted in January of the school district surveillance system in conjunction with CMSD policy 4015. Video surveillance, and it's attached to ensure the school district surveillance system provides protection and safety of individuals, school land, belongings, or school property. As outlined in the attached report, the Director of Facility Services conducted a review on February the 5th, 2026 of the operation and equipment of the school district surveillance system and found all systems to be meeting the intent of protecting the safety of the respective school facility, staff, and students in accordance with the School Act and CMSD policy 4015, video surveillance. The Business Committee at the February 11th, 2026 meeting reviewed the annual report of the school district surveillance system and forwards to the board for information. The recommended action is that the board receive for information the annual review of the school district video surveillance system report as presented.
So moved by Ed. A seconder, please.
Julia.
Thank you, Julia. Any questions on the surveillance? And this requirement that we do annually? All in favor? See, thank you.
Okay, the next section is the quarterly financial statements, December 31st, 2025, on page 91. In accordance to the budget monitoring and reporting guidelines proposed by the Financial Health Working Group for School Districts of BC, all school districts must provide the Board of Education or committee of the board with, at a minimum, quarterly financial reports which indicate forecasted results compared with the actual budget, and offer a discussion and analysis as necessary to fully communicate financial performance and key risks. Quarterly results and projections to June the 30th should be provided on September the 30th, December 31st, and March 31st of each year. This will allow the board to monitor the school district's financial position throughout the year on an ongoing basis and use expected year-end position. Attached for the board's consideration is the quarterly financial statements as of December 31st, 2025 for Coast Mountain School District 82. The Business Committee reviewed the quarterly financial statements at its meeting held on February the 11th, 2026, and brings forward to the board for information. The recommended action is that the board receive for information the quarterly financial statements as at December 31st, 2025.
So moved by Ed. Seconder, please. Julia. Any questions on the quarterly financial statements or any comment you wish to make, Ginger?
I believe Mike has a question.
Mike, sorry. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I do. During the discussion of the French immersion issue, I noticed in several places that it says that funding is provided, which also covers the maintenance. I can't remember what it was, but the three items: utilities, maintenance, and something else. But it seems to me that regardless of what is being taught in a classroom, while that expense might still be there and be covered by the French immersion grants, if that classroom was assigned to another subject, then those utilities would be covered by under different financial things. So, am I correct about that?
Yes and no. French immersion is covered under core funding. For each student, core funding is based on number of FTEs of students. That means full-time equivalents. And that full-time equivalent amount right now is currently $9,015. I think what that slide was trying to get across is that the cost to run the program is a certain amount, and we receive this amount for that many students. What it was also trying to get across was that amount, that $9,015, isn't just for wages, it's for all expenditures regarding the education of a student. So there's a lot that goes into that calculation.
Yeah, I know. It's just that you have teacher costs and you have costs of teaching materials for that subject, which is French immersion. And other than that, you got heat in the building. You're heating the room. You're having janitorial in there. But the room is not going to go away if the French immersion goes away. So if you're considering the financial implications of French immersion, then I think that there are portions of that financial thing that don't come into the consideration because they would be passed on to a different subjects funding. That was the point that I was trying to make, and the question would be, am I correct?
Yeah, the cost of heating that room or occupying that space, yes, there would still be that cost. And what I'm trying to say to you, Mike, was we were trying to explain that the cost that we get for each student isn't just for teaching. It covers many other costs as well. And so, yes, you are right, that cost would still be there and would be taken up by core funding. I don't disagree with that. What we're trying to say is of that $9,015, it's not just for the teacher in the classroom.
So is that funding, is that on top of core funding that you already have for maintenance for that building space?
No.
Okay, so then you would have teachers, then you'd have new rooms, a different subject, and would additional funding for that room come in based on the usage for that room?
I'm getting confused by your question, Mike, and I perhaps could take it and get back to you. If your question is, yes, that cost would still remain.
The cost would still remain. Would it be picked up by a different grant?
No. There's no different grant. There's no.
But I mean,
funding is core funding. There's no separate grant for core funding.
For different subjects, don't get different grants.
Okay.
Well, all right then.
Extra immersion slide was that we do get an extra $157 for each French immersion student through the French program, but that is the only other funding that we get for that program.
You know, I mean, if I was Minister of Education, I'd be kind of so if you take that away, then the room still has to be heated and whatnot, and so you'd be taking funding away for the heating of the room. Anyways, that didn't make sense to me, but perhaps I'll just leave it for now.
Okay.
Thank you for the explanation that you have provided.
Okay, all in favor of receiving for information the quarterly financial statements? Passed. Thank you.
Okay, the 2025-26 amended annual budget bylaw. That's on page 96 of your package. In accordance with section 1132 of the School Act, the Ministry of Education and Child Care require that amended annual budgets be prepared by law, adopted, and submitted on or before the last day of February for each fiscal year. School districts operate on a fiscal year from July 1st to June 30th. The attached 2025-26 amended annual budget 12969550758 for Coast Mountain School District 82 was prepared in accordance with the public sector accounting standards. On June the 18th, 2025, the board approved by law adoption the preliminary 2025-26 annual budget. The budget was based on preliminary estimates of enrollment, revenue, and expenditure factors. In December 2025, the Ministry of Education and Child Care announced the 2025-26 recalculated funding allocations provincially. Being that there were no significant adjustments required for the amended annual budget, it was not necessary to reconvene the 2025-26 budget working committee. The business committee concurred with the recommendation at its February the 11th, 2026 meeting and brings forward to the board for bylaw adoption. There'll be 3 votes associated with this. That the 2020, first of all, that the 2025-26 amended annual budget bylaw versions 1296-9550-7568 be read for the first time on the 25th day of February 2026.
So moved by Ed, a seconder, please, for the bylaw. Thank you, Julia. All, any questions? Mike?
Yeah, my understanding of line 1 is that I am voting to certify that the board has complied with the provisions of the Act respecting the amended annual budget adopted by this bylaw. And I do agree with that.
Okay, all in favor? I don't see that as a question, Mike, so. Wade, you have a question? All in favor? Passed. Thank you.
Okay, the second reading of the 2025-26 amended annual budget bylaw version 1296-9550-7568 be read a second time the 25th day of February 2026.
So moved by Ed, seconder, please. Karen? Any questions?
I'd like to share my thought process in developing and amending this budget. So when the process of amending this budget comes with the count at the end of September, verifying our number of students and our FTE, and that revises the number that we receive for funding from the Ministry of Education through student count. Based on that student count, we did have some various changes. Some went up and some went down. We ended up in a fairly decent position when it came to what we had forecasted. However, given changes within the school district to do with classroom enhancement funding, inclusion, equity, and special ed education, there was changes to staffing. So overall, the changes that were made to this budget were majority of that, I would say 99% of that came through changes in staffing allocations, which drove up staffing expenditures as well as benefit expenditures. There was some small changes to services and supplies, but the majority of all of the changes came to staffing, which was why there was no need to reconvene the 25-26 budget committee, because those are costs that we are committed to without debate. So we made those adjustments and have provided this budget.
Thank you for the further information. All in favor of the motion? It's number 2. Mike, are you voting?
Yeah, okay.
I now need a motion to unanimous consent to move forward to motion number 3.
Before we do that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, before we do that, I would like the board to acknowledge that I am agreeing to the provision that I am agreeing that to the best of my knowledge, the board has complied with the provisions of the Act respecting the amended annual budget adopted by this bylaw, and not with respect to any other matters involving compliance with the provisions of the Act.
That's a comment, not a question, so I think it's.
That is the condition for my compliance with the acknowledging the third time.
You don't have to, Mike, to do that. It's either agreeing.
So what is the problem then? Will you acknowledge that I am not stating my conviction that the board has complied with the provisions of the Act in other regards other than the amended annual budget?
Not accepting the comment. I'm going to call us to move forward. And do we have unanimous consent to go forward?
Not without that acknowledgement.
That's fine. We'll reconvene another meeting.
We'll reconvene then another meeting to do so. That's the process that will happen. So thank you, Ed, and you can move forward now, and we'll reconvene in the special meeting. Can we do it that quickly?
Yeah, I'll look under the timelines and put together a notification of a special meeting to approve.
72 hours.
I think it was 72 hours the last time that we had to do this. Okay.
Okay.
Ministry data collection. I need coffee. Or where's my water?
Data collection, projected enrollments 2026, 27, 2027, 28, and 2028, 29 school years. This is found on page 114 of your package. Reference the attached data collection of projected enrollments for the 2026, 27, 27, 28, 28, 29 school years for Coast Mountain School District as submitted to the Ministry of Education on February 12, 2026. Projections received from school districts will be used by the Ministry of Education and Child Care to facilitate the development of operating grant estimates. Operating grant estimates 2026-27 will be announced on or before March 31st, 2026. The Business Committee reviewed the data collection of projected enrollments at its February 11th, 2026 meeting and brings forward to the board for information. The recommended action is that the board pass a motion that the board receive for information the Ministry of Data Collection projected enrollments for the 2026, 27, 27, 28, and 28, 29 school years.
So moved by Ed. A seconder, please, for receipt of information. Thank you, Julia. Any questions on the enrollment projections? All in favor?
Would you like me to share some?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, please do. It's interesting to know what's happening. Yeah.
So the process of gathering enrollment projections happens between, first comes from the principals and vice principals at our schools. We estimate enrollment of Ks, and we move our students forward by grade. And then we estimate new students coming into the district at all our school levels. This year, I have projected that we are going to remain fairly stable. However, there is a couple of things that need to be noted. One is that the new high school is opening in Kitwanga. And so without very much information on their projected enrollments, we did an average of possible enrollment for that school opening. Why we remained the same and didn't decrease is because we are expecting a number of students at our middle and high schools in Terrace and Kitimat coming out of independent schools or from the Francophone school in Terrace. And that's how we managed to have a stable enrollment for next year. And of course, this is our best forecast for the situation.
Thank you. Any questions on the information that Ginger has shared? The best estimates that we can do.
Oh, just a sec.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you repeat when that high school was opening? Or that school in Kitwanga was opening?
That high school is supposed to be opening for the school year of 2026, 2027, which is in September, based on the information that I have now.
Is that the only school that they're opening in Kitwanga?
It's the only school that I'm aware of that they're opening.
Oh, okay, thank you. I didn't know that it was just going to be a high school.
Okay.
That's the last of my questions.
Yeah, all in favor of receipt of the report? Pass. Thank you.
Okay, the next item is item number 10.1.6, trustee remuneration annual review, CMSD policy 1595. And that's found on page 116 of the package. In accordance with the attached policy 1595, trustee remuneration and annual review trustee remuneration shall be conducted annually in February and be tied to the BC Consumer Price Index. Increases may be deferred by board resolution. The 2025 annual BC Consumer Price Index information is attached for reference. The Business Committee reviewed the annual review of trustee remuneration at its February the 11th, 2026 meeting and forwards to the board for information and discussion at the February 25th, 2026 regular public board meeting. And the action is that it be discussed.
So this is for discussion. We have a policy in place that we usually follow. I have a couple of comments, but go ahead, Ginger, first.
So to bring to your attention, the Consumer Price Index for 2025 is 2.1%. And currently on page 117, remuneration for trustees is as follows: $19,479 a year for the chair, $16,938 per year for the vice chair, and for trustee positions per year is $15,244.
Thank you. Any trustees have comments or just me? Go ahead, Karen.
Thank you, Chair. It's been a tough year money-wise for the schools, all the districts, not just ours, I'm sure. I don't believe that it is that we should be asking for a raise in our remuneration at this time. The budget constraints are just, I don't believe it's a good idea.
Any furthers, or shall I comment? I've looked at this quite a bit, and I'm actually comfortable following our policy for now, with the request that we look at. It is a motion that's been put forward provincially at BCSTA, and they are to report out on trustee remuneration and what is fair and equitable to do within the province, and also to look at, which is something I don't agree with, whether trustees should actually have benefits in terms of medical coverage, etc., because some districts do have that already, and it's grandfathered when you're no longer a trustee, which really is not a cost efficiency that I feel comfortable with. So I would like to stay status quo until we get that information and have a really good look at whether we need to make a change. I did phone BCSTA to see if they were ready to give us the information, and they've been too busy with other things, and they don't have it ready for us yet. So that's where I feel in terms of the discussion.
Can I ask for clarification? When you say status quo, do you mean staying where remuneration is at currently? Or are you suggesting that remuneration status quo of the policy?
Status quo of the policy.
Okay.
Follow the policy. We have the policy in place. It's not, to me, an outrageous amount or anything else like that. It can be discussed during the budget process, and let's get the right information to make a good decision. That's just where I'm at. Any other trustees have any comments? Ginger, do you feel we need a motion, or is it just discussion?
Oh, no, you have to have a motion.
Okay. Ed, do you want to put something forward? You've got two opinions here.
Okay,
So,
yeah. Can I
Yeah,
add one more
go ahead.
point? Well, our term ends in the fall, and there will be a new board coming in. And perhaps they will be in the position to decide if a raise is appropriate or warranted.
I just did some rough calculations to add more to add to the information. So my rough calculation on my fingers here is it would be about $400 for the chairperson, $356 for the vice chair, and it would be $320 increase for trustee position. Just to put that into perspective for everyone.
I'm comfortable if we just want to hold and say do nothing until we get more information.
So I would require someone to put forward a motion either way and continue on from there, please.
Go ahead, Ed. So give Karen the chair and I'll do the motion. It's all yours, Ed.
I would move that the board suspend the decision on immigration until the fall.
Karen, do you
I
second
second that.
Any further discussion on the motion to suspend till the fall?
Is that in the new term?
Could be.
Could be or could not, whatever the fall is.
Yeah, I think we need to define that actually.
Okay. Do you want to do a friendly amendment and say on receipt of the information from BCSTA and Prince George, because they're both doing it right now?
Sure. I'll make that friendly amendment.
You agree? Can you capture it there? Yep. Okay. So with the friendly amendment to wait for the information, as the deadline is when we would be looking at it, do we have all in favor of doing so? All in favor? Mike, are you going to vote? Any question?
Well, I'm very aware that the new board of trustees would be more enticed by more money. I also haven't, I haven't actually bothered yet to do a canvass of the province and gather the data to find out what the average trustee is paid. Now, I'm not entirely sure I understand what the motion is as it stands. So I guess when the new board comes in, they might, yeah. So my thought is that when the new board comes in, they could make a decision and have that be retroactive.
That would be their decision, but the motion is to wait for BCSTA's information on what's happening within the province. And it was a requested motion at the BCS provincial meeting last year, so they'll get to it at some point.
What's the question before the BCSTA?
The question before the BCSTA is ask them to provincially review what's happening with trustee remunerations, including benefits throughout the province, and inform each board. I don't know that the motion.
Well, I don't know that I want somebody else negotiating for me. I have been considering for the next term. I have been considering for a motion that trustees be added to the same type of extended medical benefits that other employees of the districts get. And I don't know about this grandfathered business that trustees would be entitled. My understanding is that trustees would be entitled to that, like ongoing after they're no longer trustees. Anyway, that's BCSTA's decision.
No, it's not their decision. They are collecting the information. It's a board decision. So I've called the question in terms of, are you in favor or not, or do you wish to abstain?
Oh, I'm in favor of putting things off until the next board comes in.
Okay, so then the motion has passed. Is that?
So did he?
He just said he was in favor of the motion.
No, he said he was in favor of putting it off.
If this motion includes the provision of putting the decision off until the new board comes in, then I approve.
That isn't the motion.
That's not the motion.
Okay, then I'll say no.
Okay.
So
either way, we're good.
We passed anyways with one. Do you want your negative vote recorded, Mike?
Of course.
Okay. Thank you. We'll record your vote. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Next one.
Excitement there.
11.1.7, and thank you for keeping me on track. There's too much in my brain right now.
This is the review revised policy 1035 student records, and this is the first reading. That's on page 119 in your package. The purpose of this review is to update policy 1035. Student records should ensure compliance with current Ministry of Education and Childcare (MOECC) requirements, reflect updated legislative references, and support the continued separation of board policy from administrative procedures as part of the district's policy modernization process. The background is that the policy is being reviewed to ensure alignment with current Ministry of Education and Childcare requirements and district-wide policy modernization. The review supports the separation of policy, the board governance direction, from procedures, administrative implementation. The policy has not been substantively reviewed since its original adoption. Summary of the key changes are as follows. Removes procedural detail, which is now addressed in accompanying administrative procedures. Updates all ministry references to align with the Ministry of Education and Childcare, including incorporation of the permanent student records instructions. Supplements and aligns with applicable ministerial orders, including permanent student records order MOK2/09, student records disclosure order M14/91. Incorporates updated ministry mandated requirements for student file minimum content. The revised policy is presented to the board for first reading in accordance with the board policy review procedures. The recommended action is that the revised policy 1035 student records be presented for first reading at the next regular board meeting.
So moved. Acceptance of the first reading. Any questions? A seconder, please, for acceptance of this as first reading. Go ahead, Wayne. Thank you. You're seconding. Any questions? If not, all in favor of adopting the first reading.
Questions?
Question, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this as saying that the previous policy left it as a administration procedure, and now the board becomes liable
No.
for I'm wrong about that. It says the intent of this policy is to ensure that the Board of Education establishes, maintains, safeguards, and retains.
So let
Okay.
Cynthia answer your question.
Mike, currently in the policies that the Board of Education for CMSD 82 has, the policies are mixed together with the administrative procedures, which is not a best practice and is not recognized by most organizations as a best practice. And so we are endeavoring to clean up this process by separating our policy, which is the responsibility of the board, and putting forward the new policy with some amendments and stripping the administrative procedures out of it and creating a separate document. Do you understand what I have said?
Well, not really. I don't see how, to me, it seems like it's putting the responsibility on the board.
The board always had responsibility. The policy.
Well, yeah, and then that responsibility is delegated to the administration.
No. What is being separated out of the policy is the procedure on how the administration holds up the policy, how they maintain and what the procedures are to ensure that policy is being maintained. So a policy should be a policy on its own. And then separately, there should be a procedure that supports that policy. The policy is what the board gives us to follow. The board says we will do X, and the procedure tells the board, the general public, students, everyone, the staff, how we're going to do.
Okay, this is first reading, so let's proceed to accept it for first reading.
All in favor of first reading? Can I reconfirm the vote? Thank you. Pass.
All right. The next item is 11.1.8. The new policy 11.20, response to unexpected health emergencies, first reading. The background discussion is the purpose of this new policy is to establish board direction respecting the district's response to unexpected health emergencies and to ensure compliance with current provincial legislation and ministerial orders. The background is that the Support Services for Schools Order M149/89 as amended by M198/25 requires boards of education to establish and maintain a publicly available policy ensuring that life-saving tools, including automated external defibrillators, AEDs, and naloxone kits are readily available in all schools. The policy affirms the board's commitment to safe and responsive learning environments and establishes a district-wide emergency response framework. Administrative Procedures 11.20 will operationalize this policy, including standards for placement, maintenance, inspection, and training. Ministry timelines require secondary schools to have AEDs and naloxone kits accessible December 31st, 2025, and elementary and middle schools by September 2026. The new policy is presented to the board for first reading in accordance with board policy development procedures. The recommended action is that the policy 11.20 response to unexpected health emergencies be presented for first reading at the February 25th, 2026 regular board meeting.
A motion to receive for first reading moved by Ed, seconded by Julia. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Pass. Thank you, Ed. We move on to the Education Committee report with Karen.
All right, I'm just shuffling over to get Ginger's hard copy here.
Okay.
All right, so meeting agenda item 11.2.1. It's the minutes of the Education Committee meeting, which was held February 11th, 2026. The minutes are attached, and the recommended action is that the minutes of the Education Committee meeting held February 11th, 2026 be received for information.
Seconder for the receipt for information. Ed? All in favor of receipt for information? Mike, you abstaining again?
I was not part of the meeting. I'm not going to verify that anything is correct about the minutes.
Can we pass with the exception of recording that Mike didn't vote? 11.22.
Mm-hmm. All right. Item 12.2.2. The topic is level 5 field trip, out of province field trip application. It's out of province field trip to Ottawa, Ontario by Hazelton Secondary, UNESCO Leadership, and May 26, 2026. In accordance with Policy 1080, Field Trips and Outdoor Education, board approval in principle is required for all level 5 field trips prior to initiating, planning, or fundraising, and prior to promoting with students or the community. Level 5 field trips encompasses all trips regardless of the duration that travel outside of the provincial and national jurisdiction. Final board approval is required for all level 5 field trips with the submission of the completed field trip application to the board within the following timelines. A, within Canada, 60 days. B, international, 120 days. The attached board approval in principle submission is presented to the board for approval, including a synopsis or summary of the respective level 5 field trip, out of province field trip, Ottawa, Ontario, Hazelton Secondary, UNESCO Leadership, May 26, 2026 to May 30th, 2026. The Education Committee reviewed the above mentioned field trip submission for the board approval in principle at its February 11th, 2026 meeting and forwards it to the board with a recommendation for approval subject to confirmation of final return travel arrangements which have been met. The recommended action is that the board approve in principle the out of province field trip, Ottawa, Ontario, Hazelton Secondary, UNESCO Leadership, May 26, 2026.
So moved by Karen, seconder for the approval. Ed, any questions on the trip? All in favor of the first approval in principle? Mike, are you going to vote or not?
I'm just going to abstain on that one.
Okay, we'll record your absence. Yes, yeah, our superintendent wishes to comment.
I'd like to thank Ryan and the team for making those amendments in the plan to ensure student safety. Well done and excellent job. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you, Karen, for your presentation. And we're now moving on to 12.1, which is on page 147, the appointment of the election officer. Ginger, did you want to present this or how would?
Sure. Yeah, I will present this. Just have to find it.
Page 147, or do you have it in? Oh, you have it in
Yeah, I
paper.
got it. Thank you. So agenda item 11.1.6, the appointment of the election officer for the trustee election in 2026. Also the appointment of the deputy election officer, trustee election 2026. The role of a trustee is to maintain focus on student achievement and well-being, and to participate in making decisions that benefit the entire district while representing the interests of the community. General local elections in British Columbia are held every 4 years, including the election for offices of school district trustees. The Board of Education for School District is comprised of 7 trustees. The next provincial school trustee election is scheduled for Saturday, October 17th, 2026, with nominations received during the nomination period of September 1st to September 11th. The services of the Chief Election Officer for the provincial school trustees elections are required by CMSD, with the recommendation to appoint Ms. Kathy Jackson as the Chief Elections Officer for Coast Mountain School District for the 2026 trustee elections. The service of the Deputy Chief Elections Officer for provincial school trustee elections are required by CMSD, with the recommendation to appoint Ms. Shauna Wilson as Deputy Chief Elections Officer for Coast Mountain School District for 2026 trustee election. The recommendation is that the board appoint Ms. Kathy Jackson as Chief Election Officer and Ms. Shauna Wilson as Deputy Chief Elections Officer for Coast Mountain School District for the provincial trustee election in 2026.
Would someone so move the motion? Ed? And Julia, second. Any questions? All in favor of these 2 appointments? And Ed or Wayne, I'm sorry, I didn't see your vote. Yes? Okay. Ed, Mike?
He did.
I voted.
Okay, thank you. All right. That has passed. Thank them both for stepping forward. Kathy's done it for a few years for us, or a few terms. Yeah. Next is receipt for information is my board chair report. I think it covered most of what's in my report, and I welcome any questions. The only addition to the report that I just wanted to highlight is that BCSTA has completed the provincial rule review of policy development, and it's on our board site that we can all read with BCSTA, and we're working hard on our policies and we're on track. So thank you for our team administrative wise that's keeping us going to update these policies and go with it that way. And there'll be lots of discussion at our BCSTA meeting in April when we're down in terms of where policies should go for boards. Any questions, or can I so move receipt of my report for information? Second, by Ed. All in favor of receipt? And pass. Thank you. BCSTA Council report. Anything? Ed?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. The concern that school trustees in the election are not being looked at in a way that the mayor and council part of the election occurs. That people often don't bother to vote. I think we need to really promote that. There is a new BCSTA strategic plan, and that is on the BCSTA website. And the How Are We Doing report is available on the ministry website.
Excellent. Thank you for your report. Thank you for attending that meeting. Trustee reports. Do any trustees have a report to add to the meeting? Mike, go ahead. Sorry, you've moved on the screen over to slide. Yeah.
Yeah. As I didn't have Ed's report in my that last agenda item. That was it was probably labeled that it was just for oh god damn it, I'm on the wrong page again. Yeah, that's verbal. Okay, that's why I'm confused there. Okay, yeah, I did some work on this. I noticed that the chart on page 23 and 24 of the agenda was split between 2 pages. So basically, I took a pair of scissors and I cut them out and I stuck them together with Scotch tape and sent them to you because it was much easier to see the information. And I'd like to add that the chart is read in 2 different ways, because if you go straight up and down, that's the effect on the entire, like on the entire population kind of. Whereas if you follow the colors, then you're following one particular class as they progress through the grade. So I found that to be information. I had to figure it out, and maybe somebody else doesn't have to figure it out. Now, what I found by crunching the data on it was that I don't know how to pronounce MGA, but I found that they had following particular classes down the line. For the first year that I did the sample, it came out 0 because they had 4. Oh, hang on. Did I make a mistake in my math here? Oh, I don't have a 0 there. Oh, okay, it's a 50%. My eyes. So the one class that I followed through had an attrition of 50%. The next group that I followed through was 17% attrition. The third group was 57%, and the fourth group was 22%, which meant that MGA had an attrition rate of 36.5, whereas the provincial attrition rate was 20%. So if we're calculating costs and funding, then I think it's unrealistic to use the 20%. And that trend continued with the Hazelton Secondary School. The one group came out 0 because they started with 2 students and they ended with 2 students from grade 8 through grade 12. And then for the next group of students, the attrition rate was 66%. The third was 33%. And the last, they had started with 2 students and ended up with 0. So that one was 100%. So the actual attrition, average attrition for those 3 groups of students was 50%. So again, the provincial average of 20%, I believe, and it's possible that I've made a mistake in my math, but nobody has double checked me. But to me, it looks as if using 20% as a projection of future funding seems unrealistic. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Any other trustees have anything to review or change or share with us? Yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
Hi. I just want to comment further on what Tracy had said earlier about the relationship that we have up here in Stewart. It's quite a unique relationship with the community and the school. The RCMP has been a big part of that, and as well as the steward. Help me out on that one, Tracy. The steward, what's he called? Steward. Anyway, in addition to all that stuff.
The what?
In addition to all that stuff, we do have a thing here called Jays Care. Jays Care is a program that's put on by the Blue Jays Foundation, and our school has been enrolled for a 2nd year with the program. And it's a great program for kids to be involved with baseball. The Jays provide all the goods and materials necessary for children to learn the game and play the game. And it's just a fantastic program.
The Stewart Connection Society.
Stewart Connection Society. Thank you so much. I go to the gym all the time. All right. That's all I had to say. The Jays program is a very good program. Their intake this year is finished, but you can get on the waiting list. And any school that wants to participate can be put up for recommendation. So that's it for me.
Great. Any other trustees wish to report? If not, we can move to the question period, and question period is about items that have been on our agenda. Any questions regarding the agenda? Clarifications?
I believe Brianna had a question.
Yeah, Brianna, you had your hand up earlier and I asked you to wait till now, so.
Yes, thank you. Just, I wasn't sure when to talk, so I figured I'd put my hand up and get in the queue. So I wanted to respond to the motion that the trustee Julia Sundell put on that everybody approved. And I just wanted to clarify that I cannot in good conscience recruit for the French immersion program when there is a very real possibility that the board will discontinue the program. We have been up and running for 4 months, and we have spoken about our plan to recruit as CPF has done in the past, but this won't be actioned until we have answers for parents. That's the biggest thing, and why we've seen some children leave French in the recent history. It's just there's no, they want a sure thing for their kids. They don't want them in this tumultuous, like, is there, isn't there French? And then the other thing was 2 weeks is not enough time to do this report. The majority of our board will in fact be attending the All-Native Hockey Tournament in Prince George or the Junior All-Native Basketball Tournament that I believe is being held. It's down south anyway, so it's a lot of travel and a very, very busy time for a lot of us. I'd ask to amend the motion to allow us parents at least 2 months to get this information together. And I mean, Hazelton's numbers will never compare to those of Terrace and Kitimat. I would like this board to consider that small municipalities receive grants to be able to have clean water and wastewater systems, as our size shouldn't determine a smaller community's access to these needed funds, especially when our program's outcomes are incredibly successful. An outcomes-based approach to smaller communities would benefit the entire district and could possibly become a blueprint for the rest of the province to improve rural education outcomes.
Okay, so you're requesting that we consider extending it. I'd like to confer with the superintendent first before I answered in terms of the board has a deadline in terms of having to make the decision. And that's why we did the best that we could in terms of giving another chance for 2 weeks of us to review all of the information and receive more. And we have to make a decision within that next couple of weeks in terms of the way the budgets go and the way the funding happens.
Do you want me to provide some reasoning on?
Sure, yeah.
I can just share some reasoning, and we can also take the question and get back to you, but it pertains to collective agreements, staffing and positions for next year. And that's why we had set the meeting dates and times for today, because it's already started at the district level for next year. Thank you, Chair.
Any further questions? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Brianna, for staying around. As I mentioned at some point in my rambling, you didn't put any contact information in, so I wasn't able to send you the information that I sent to other people. And I wonder if you might send that information into the board through the board, so that I could get that information and get my mathematics over to you so that you get a chance to look at it. Now, I did send it to, oh, blasted, I can't remember her name. It starts with an A.
I don't know who it is, but Mike,
Oh, hang on.
You sent the information to the board, and the board shares.
I did.
Yeah, the board will share.
The board will be sending it to her immediately anyways, right?
Board will share it, what we can, yeah.
All right, that's the last of my concerns for the day.
Any further questions in regards to what's happened this meeting? Christine. Oh, there's your hand now. I see it. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Christina Nuevo. I'm a mother of a French immersion student at Majagale Galiax. My questions echoed the same as Brianna's, but I wanted to take a moment to thank Tina for the options that she had put forward and for the school district superintendent for giving those options. Because when I read those options, the majority of them, options 1, 2, 3, and 6, help the French immersion program move forward. I do echo what Brianna is saying, and I understand fiscal constraints. I understand collective agreements. It would have been nice to have had this request for recruitment numbers and for fundraising earlier. But as you know, and as Brianna's presentation pointed out, the Canadian Parents for French have only really had 4 meetings. We are committed to fundraising, and I just wanted to give the context to the other school district trustees and the leadership that's in the room that, you know, these small communities fundraise for the Junior All-Native Basketball Tournament. We fundraise for the All-Native Hockey Tournament in Prince George and Merritt. Some of our high school students have gone to provincials. We've been fundraising for that. As parents and community members, we fundraise a lot. And so we are committed, and we have the expertise and we have the numbers to show that we can fundraise. But to show you fundraising within 2 weeks is nearly, if any of you work in nonprofits, and as you know, is a very impossible task. And so in 2 weeks, I'll be asking the Canadian Parents for French if we can show you our proposed fundraising. I mean, now we're being asked to fundraise for this program, which has been going through since 1986 in our communities. And so we want to ensure that as much information is presented to you as possible that shows the commitment and dedication and passion of our students. So my question is, if one of the other options 4, 5, or 7 are decided, what will the school district replace our French immersion program with?
Can't answer that now.
I'll take the question.
Yeah, we'll take the question. Yeah. Any further questions? Mike?
Yeah. So I did a whole bunch of math on the shortfall and both for MGA and for HSS. But we have Ecole Mountain View. Is that what it's called? Ecole something. Anyway, and that is a 100% French immersion school.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, I guess their funding works for them.
Mike,
but we didn't get. Do they have attrition rates or anything like we could compare attrition rates at Ecole to Hazelton's?
So Ecole Mountain View is a French immersion school, a full French immersion school, and it is at capacity and has been for pretty much since it opened, which it opened before I started here.
And they have room for more, or they don't have any room for more. They're at capacity. They can't take any more students.
Yeah, they have full rooms.
Okay. And as far as budgets go, there's no shortfall with their funding.
Mike, I think
there's shortfall in all our funding.
Yeah.
But the major consideration that needs to be considered in this is about the student enrollment in particular programs. That's what we are.
Right.
We are
discussing. I'm sorry for interrupting you, if I may. Now, do we have? So there's been a shortfall. Other than the grant that we had before, so there was no shortfall in the last couple of years because of a grant that we received. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct.
We've been
Okay, so
carrying-
there has been a historical shortfall. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Could we get data on a timeline and numbers for the historical data of the shortfall?
I'll refer it to Ginger and she can maybe get back to you or maybe not. She'll have to see if we've got that information for you.
Thank you.
Christine, you have another question. I'm not quite sure. Wayne, did you have your hands up or were you just the way you're sitting? Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Christine.
Thank you. I just had one more comment that kind of goes into a question, is that the Canadian Parents for French, we have reached out to the Indigenous Education Council. I'm sorry, I don't remember how many there are. There are quite a few in our communities, but I just wanted the board to know that many of them are busy. So the earliest we can get a meeting with the Indigenous Education Coordinator in Gittimax is next Wednesday, which I do have a meeting with. And Brianna and I are working very hard to meet each of the Indigenous Education Council members to see, to come up with innovative ideas and ways of raising funds or directing funds to help with the French immersion program. We'll be seeking letters of support from them as well. I do not know if I can get them within 2 weeks, but I wanted to say that for the board to consider that.
Thank you for the information. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, just one more statement. I am, like, my primary goal is to support engagement of parents in their students' education. So on principle, French immersion, team sports, art, band, these are all things that involve parents in an active way in their children's education. And I want that for all parents. So that's where I start from, right? And I just want to make that clear because that's my philosophy.
Okay. Brianna, you have another question? I see your hand up now. Yeah.
More just a statement because I couldn't remember what the number was that is budgeted for per FTE in a school. But in the presentation that Tina had done, and I would like to echo Christine's thank you so much, Tina, for all of your work. I see that it was 123,280, and I know it was a couple years ago. I can't remember the exact year, but in HSS there were 11 LPs teaching in that school, which means that there would have been a savings because there would have been budgeted $1,356,080 for those teaching positions that don't get the full amount. So that's what I meant in my presentation when I said, like, right while we are building the program, like, I know there's still at least one LP at HSS. So like, because it's core funding. So I guess I'm just making the comment that because it was allocated for Hazelton, can it stay within Hazelton to support a program in Hazelton, if that makes sense? And then we can put this out in our program. And I have met with Pansy. We're working with her. She had said verbally she would do a letter, but life of a post-secondary coordinator and education coordinator is she had not been able to do it on time for this tonight.
Okay, well, I've got it down. I don't have any answers there for you right now, but we will explore what you're talking about in terms of putting forward the LOP question. Any other questions? Oh, Ed, I thought you were going to ask.
I'm just thinking of another question. Now it was in one of the options, and I don't remember which of the options, was an option for moving the French immersion project from MGA over to Hazelton Elementary, if I remember correctly. But
Yes.
what is that? And so that would be in hopes of increasing the attendance or the students that are enrolled. Yeah, enrollment is the word I was looking for. So would there be like busing considerations or anything?
We'll take that.
Okay, so that seems, I think I've answered my own question, and that is in the hopes that enrollment would improve. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think we've had all the questions. And I have a motion for adjournment, or did I miss something on the agenda?
No.
Starting to fade.
Wayne has his hand up.
Oh, Wayne, you moved.
No.
You're moving to adjourn. A motion to adjourn from somebody?
Yes.
Yes. Yep, all done. We're adjourned. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
Julia. Bye-bye.
Thank you.